Hello, it's Friday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Nima Akasha Zibiri.
Hello, good morning.
How are you?
I'm grateful to God. It's the Friday before Eid, so for those of us intending to slaughter, we are going to be starting our rituals at home. Leave off our hair, shave after, and all of those things.
Ah, I didn't know there was a ritual before.
There's a ritual before. There's even a ritual bath that most people don't talk about. Yes, so we'll do all of that on the morning of the Eid and prepare for it. I'm just looking forward to it because I'm schooling my children the seriousness of it. So it's not just about Ileya celebration and wear fine clothes. In my house, it was a ritual. Everybody would fast, would do. I used to fast only Arafat Day, but this year, I want to continue the tradition of the first 10 days of the Hajj, the Eid month. So,
when are you going to Hajj? We want to...
Hajj is calling me this year. I think I should have been doing this first 10 days of the Zulhijjah. Because this year, the only thing about Hajj is like I'm there. I spend my nights listening to the Hajj sessions. I spend my mornings before I get to work listening.
That's Mecca, right?
No, just sermons about the rituals of Hajj, the entire process.
But Hajj is going to Mecca.
When you're going to
Hajj is going to Mecca for the Ileya before, but we can go to Mecca for Umrah.
Don't worry. God can do anything. What God cannot do does not exist. Don't worry. We'll go to Hajj this year.
Going on the Hajj.
Oh, there. How are you doing, Mariam? I love your outfit.
Thank you. Vichy, House of Vichy.
Oh, my God. Girlfriend is doing great stuff.
So you're going to get
push her.
We're so proud of her. I mean, you see someone from when they start to...
and their consistency, you know. And thank you guys for supporting them.
Yeah, she's one of the fashion designers for House of BC as well. She's good.
So
it's not even about supporting someone just because of supporting.
I
mean, you have
getting value for your money.
You're getting value for for your money and everything. So in fact, they are supporting you to look nice.
This person, the same person there, Ada, when you tell her to come for makeup for you and reach somewhere at 5 a.m., Ada is there.
She's a perfectionist, exactly.
Like, I have never seen somebody work so hard. So she deserves every patronage. She's fantastic.
She's good. But you know, the kids are rounding up with their exams. Some are on break already. But there was something I noticed among many children. I don't know if you noticed with your children. They've been having like runny nose and
my baby.
I was just wondering if the Lagos State is aware of that. Because I'm not saying it's COVID, but let's just know what this is. I'm happy that they're coming home, but let's know what it is. Many children have this. And it's something to, pay attention to.
My own has a really congested chest. And coughing and I just get worried of taking him to hospital and all that.
And I think it's the much younger children.
Yes.
Because my boy just stopped wheezing. He used to wheeze in sleep. He just stopped wheezing just 2 weeks ago.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So it's the weekend. So my kids are on holiday already.
Yeah, so
I've been bringing them to work. Yes, they have to intern. They are learning internship because I'm just worried that every day they are home, either with the gadgets or watching TV. I said, this holiday, I'm going to try as much as possible to regulate it. So while you're going to be working with mommy, I've already given them assignments that they will be doing while I'm on set.
Wow.
When I'm done now in the car, we'll be checking what you have done.
I'm sure
they are hearing me now. So you can't believe pick your books. You have exams
right now. They're not doing anything.
No, they will eat first now before they start their reading. He's hearing me now.
So they are children. Holidays are for resting and playing. No, I sure say nobody stop you play when you smoke.
I too play now. No be now can they get sense. I know quick get sense. I want them to quick get sense.
It's Friday. Exams are tomorrow.
Your interviews are they over? Your online
my final. Thank you.
Okay.
So
You have another fantasy.
Thank you. So I have a 5 o'clock interview today for my book, my final chapter. And tomorrow I have exams. But one thing that really struck me today that I thought was really important was the fact that yesterday we talked about celebrating people when they are alive, not after they die. And I was so touched to find out that the NYSC DG, Brigadier General Ibrahim Shebu, was able to visit the home of 74 years old NYSC anthem composer, Reverend Oluwole Adetiran. I mean, it was important. He said that he had hypertension, he had diabetes. I mean, it was in the papers and Punch today.
We've been criticizing governments to recognize this person and do proper, recognition, make life worth living, or make this man an example. So this, the man was in tears. If you read the story in the paper, he was in tears for the first time. Somebody in government decided to pay him a visit. So they remembered him.
37 years after.
And we sing this anthem every day.
Every year. So in recognition of him, let's just give him a round of applause.
So true. And I also like that the government is not just about recognizing him. They should make his life easier. They should take care of his welfare as well as an elderly man.
Must have something for our old people.
Just paying
Let's go on a break now. When we come back, move on to the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Right, we're going to start with the Punch. Southern senators turn against governors. National Assembly members clash over the electronic results transmission. Picture here of Kara cattle marketer along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Lots of rams getting ready to be sold.
Slaughtered.
Amotekun raids Ondo nightclubs, impounds 40 vehicles. Fake developer defrauds 100 prospective Lagos tenants of 500 million naira. APC suspends 11 Lai Mohammed's followers, stops offenders registration. To accommodate fresh loans, FG raises new borrowing limits to 61 trillion naira. NAFDAC approves Russian vaccine beneficiaries may be barred from Europe. And certificate forgery, FCC chairman kicks as CSO demands resignation. Okay, let's start with the human interest story.
So this Alhaji Ahmed Ayinde, supposedly a developer of a property somewhere in Olowo Ira, and he collected rents from too many people up to the tune of 500 million naira, saying that he was renovating the building and that they will get accommodation very soon, only for people to find out that multiple tenants had paid for the houses and now his phones are switched off. But the state police is saying that the matter is under investigation and that they will not be very soon.
Yes,
So go ahead, Bisi.
Amotekun in Ondo State, they said they impounded 40 vehicles after the raid on a nightclub or different nightclubs on Wednesday. So the state government had already given a directive that nightclubs must not exceed midnight because they realized that a lot of criminals were carrying out criminal activities and they were using the nightclubs as a front. And when they get there, they see that a lot of hard drugs are being used by those people. So they gave that directive. But some of the nightclubs now, they were stubborn to keep, opening their business till past midnight. So Amotekun carried out a raid, impounded 40 vehicles from all of the nightclubs and gave them the last warning. Though they had returned the vehicles, but there are going to be strict measures taken when they default again.
Yes, so a human rights group called the Ligel Youth and Leadership Initiative is asking for the immediate resignation of the chairman of the Federal Character Commission, Dr. Mohiba Nkaka, and they're saying that she allegedly forged her academic certificate. And they've threatened to drag her to court, and they're giving her a one-week ultimatum. She's responded through her spokesperson saying that everybody knows that in Nigeria, when you get married, you change your name. And her master's, she acquired that in 1989 before she got married. So it is normal for everyone to change their names to their married names. And that thank God that this particular group is just saying that the names on her certificate is different, not saying that these certificates do not belong to her, and that they should have done the first thing, which is to ask for the physical copy or, try to reach out. The group said they had tried to reach out for other things before and they never got a response, but they are going to take her to court. So we'll see how this plays out.
We'll take it somewhere else.
Okay.
Moving on to The Nation. Senate dumps proposal on e-transmission of results. PIBB, South leaders reject 3% for host communities. Government has awarded 800 contracts covering 13,000 kilometers of roads, says Minister Fashola. CBN begins deduction of $2.1 billion budget support facility from state allocation. NAFDAC okays Russian Spanish vaccines emergency use. 6 A-24 Tornado fighter jets depart U.S. for Nigeria.
So let's use
the headline, yes.
Now, but I love the way it was taken in the Punch. The senators, APC senators, our southern senators decided to vote along with their counterparts in the National Assembly, and left the agreement that the governors had signed. The governors...
Was it all of them? Was all of them?
Most of them.
Yeah.
In fact, shocking is the details of the way the voting went in the Punch. But they voted against the e-transmission of results, electronic transmission of election results, saying the way the government had just amended that section, they said, the Senate amended it to say INEC may transmit results provided that the network has been adjudged, secured by the NCC and approved by the National Assembly. And that caption is what all of them now voted for, saying, you know, and that takes it away when we put the word may. It gives it less force and, you know, puts everything to the NCC.
I find it a bit confusing, though.
Yes.
NCC
so
on
what
their
they're
part...
saying, are they saying that, so the National Assembly has to approve that this particular network is safe and secure?
The NCC has to approve.
And also the
National... NCC is saying only if for 3% of Nigerians can access internet, saying that some areas, of course, it means that this
it's
will
a
not...
no now.
That's what we were saying yesterday.
Yeah? The way they voted shall shock us.
But I mean, I'm happy they did physical voting because we're tired of the voice vote. That doesn't work. Let us know. Put your money where your mouth is. If you're voting for, let us know. No hard feelings. That's democracy for you. Just vote and let us know. But I mean, and I think I like the fact that
I like the way they voted.
Well, so it means that there may not be electronic transmission.
It's possible.
The senators.
Who has the Tukado story? Or which other story?
Okay, I have the vaccine. The NAFDAC has approved the emergency use of Moderna AstraZeneca vaccine, and Sputnik vaccine. They come from Korea. One is from Republic of Korea, the AstraZeneca. Then there's one from Russia, from Spain, Moderna. And so the reason why is because, you know, the one that we get from India, because of the pandemic that they are going through right now, it has stalled the distribution of AstraZeneca for now. So we have to go through these other sources. But they're saying that they have gone through, that all these sources have gone through quality, safety, and efficacy evaluation. And so it's fine to use.
Producing our own.
That's where I was going to go next. When are we going to produce ours?
I want to believe, baby, that they are making plans to start producing ours.
No, we have spoken. They have actually spoken about it.
They
have. But it's a long process.
You know, so when we hit this club with India, I expect that your result will be home, not around countries.
But if NAFDAC has said Nigeria has just produced theirs and they can roll it out to use, how many Nigerians would trust to take it?
So let me move on to the story. So the minister, Fashola, was saying that they've spent more money on roads, and he's saying that there's a difference between contracts and projects. So in one project, there could be multiple contracts. But he was trying to say that back in 2015, during the last administration, they spent about 18 billion naira on road. And for Lagos State, I think they only spent about 70 billion. But he's saying that Buhari's administration have spent, since this started, about 260 billion. And then they have another 242 billion, and then another 356 billion. Trying to say the fact that no other administration has constructed more roads than the Buhari administration. And he was speaking there at the weekly ministerial briefing organized by the Presidential Communications Team.
There was also something that says no housing deficit. I don't know if
about
we have that.
So, yes. So he queried the 17 million housing deficit figure that we have, saying that how did we arrive at when we have empty buildings around the country? That what we have is an urban problem, not, you know, every national problem. So we have a migration of people heading towards the urban cities. And because of that, you have people needing places to stay in, not necessarily because there are lack of places to stay in, but because
so what he has said, they've built houses in lots of rural areas or different areas, but people don't want to live there, and they're empty. So they have houses, but people don't want to live there.
Are they giving the houses to the people? Because I had one housing estate in my area that was locked down. Nobody was taking it.
So they are too expensive.
And it was only
so maybe it's a funds deficit that we're talking about.
Maybe
not the housing
even then we have the FBN, but he's querying this, that how did we arrive at that figure of the number of deficit that we have without a census? So until we do have a census, we cannot.
All right, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue with the review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Where are we, Jerry? Thanks for staying with us. Moving on now to the Nigerian Tribune. We talked about the e-transmission already. Let's find another story. No housing crisis in Nigeria, says Fashola. Journalist, policeman, one other killed in Ondo Bank robbery. Kwara APC factions bicker as national chapter suspends 11 members. Governors have hijacked appointment of VCs for federal varsities. Kaduna closes schools for 3 weeks. Senate approves Buhari's request for $8.325 million external loans. Odua Investment declares 5.2 billion naira profit invest in oil and gas. No government is subordinate to the other. Agitations are effects of insecurity, says NBA president. Northern lawmakers kick against zoning presidency to South. And AFG begins deductions of budget support facility for states this month. Okay.
Many just stories.
Yes, go ahead.
So armed robbers invaded a new generation bank in Ondo State. And they killed 3 persons, a journalist, a policeman, and a commercial driver who was just, I think the journalist and the commercial cyclist they just bumped into the action and then stray bullets hit them. But they said there were about 6 persons that carried out the attack in the bank. They got there, they had to blow up the doors with the dynamite. And when that was happening, I think that was when the policeman that was guarding the entrance died, and they got in, they opened the safe, they was screaming for the name of they wanted to see the manager, they took money from the counter, they took money. It wasn't enough when they broke open the safe, they went to the ATM, that wasn't enough. They just took what they had and left angrily. But the police has gotten involved. They said investigations are ongoing about the whole thing.
So I want to talk about the Senate approval for the President's external borrowing of $8.2 million. This loan, according to the chairman House Committee on this, Senator Clifford Odia, in his presentation, he was bemoaning how concerned the committee was about our borrowing and our loan servicing, saying that our entire 30% of our entire budget annually now goes to loan servicing, debt servicing, and that they are concerned about that. He talked about how we are not also generating enough revenue to meet what we are borrowing, but they can't approve.
Make we borrow more. And we are borrowing from China.
I took this story from News Direct, so
I have another story here, and it's northern lawmakers kick against zoning presidency to the north. So members of the state houses of assembly of the northern states, from the northern states of our country, had a meeting under the aegis of Nigeria Northern States Legislature Forum, and they were just talking about the rotational zoning of presidency, and also I think it was also a forum to canvass support for the Kogi State governor for his ambition to run for presidency. But they said that concerning this rotational zoning, they do not agree with it going back to the southern part. That if you look at it, the South has ruled the country for 14 years, while the North will be 10 years at the end of Buhari's tenure in 2023. And aside from that fact, the North Central Zone has not been represented at the presidency level since Nigeria's independence in 1960. Fact. So, but they go on to talk about the governor of Kogi State. They said he possesses the cognate experience to manage the diversity of this country and also has the Midas touch to stem the menace of insecurity and other crimes ravaging the country, especially in northern.
If somebody has a Midas touch, can you please share it?
Midas touch.
If you want to promote somebody to the next class, you will see the result from the first class. How well is Kogi doing?
We're not trying to even see if you have the Midas touch, if you have the solution. Could you please give that solution?
We need it right now for the whole of Nigeria.
Don't wait till you have power, because for them it's useless. We've lost lives. So if indeed he has Midas touch, please, could you tell him
all around?
Let him begin to start doing the
Midas touch.
No, he's done it for Kogi State, so the rest of you go and show you how.
You should go to Abuja.
Security.
You have to run, guys. Any other story in Tribune? Let's move on to News Direct. You've taken the story you want to take. News Direct.
Yes, so move on.
Let me move on.
To the Sun.
Daily Sun, let's find a story we've not taken. PIBB protests rocks House of Reps over 3% host community fund. COVID-19, 39 UNILAG staff students infected. Kanun sponsors bill for establishment of food bank to reduce hunger and unemployment. I was blindfolded in flight from Kenya to Nigeria, Kanun tells lawyer. Olusoy appointed MD, CEO of bank. Okay?
So the Senate Chief Whip and the senator from Abia State, Chief Orji Uzor Kalu, sponsored this bill that has passed first reading. It's called the National Food Bank of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2021. And the objective of the bill is to create food banks, also allow youth secure loans using their certificates as collateral to encourage them into agriculture, sort of establish means where we have food sufficiency in the country by a bill compelling everybody to do something about it. So it has passed first reading. Hopefully we'll get it passed and we'll see how well it will be.
Yeah, so update on Unilag. You know, since day before yesterday, they've been in the papers because there's an outbreak of third wave of COVID-19. And now the report is saying that no fewer than 34 students of the University of Lagos have tested positive for the COVID-19. They said about 5 staff. Another report is also saying that 15 staff have tested for COVID-19, and 19 students also, and 2 workers were affected. So that they're beginning to investigate to find out if it was brought into the campus by a staff or a student, and they are already doing contact tracing for those people who had contact with anyone who had the COVID-19. So they've extended the time, because yesterday they gave them 12 p.m. to vacate the school premises, but a lot of people were in a hurry and they couldn't get taxis, so they've extended it till today. They are waiting for every student to leave the campus so that they can...
I think I queried the way they handled this in the beginning, because earlier in the week, Unilag had reported that there's a symptom like people had to suggest from the system that this could be COVID.
Yeah, they went to the medical center.
Of learning, you'd expect that testing and everything
they started
would be
immediately.
swift.
No, they did.
No, they did it.
Anyway,
they did it.
the Kanun aircraft, 6 of them will be departing America and will arrive our country, they said, before the end of July. I will remember in February 2018, we had requested 12 aircraft worth $496 million from the United States to help in the fight against insurgency. The spokesperson for the Nigerian Air Force says that Nigerian Air Force is already planning at a later date in August to announce what they call, I think it's a ceremony, to receive it and induct the aircraft. So that's good news.
Nnamdi Kanu, as you know, is still behind bars, and he appeared in court, and he was explaining how he was blindfolded and flown all the way from Kenya by his abductors, according to him. According to his lawyers, on June 29th, he was brought in, and he didn't even go through the tarmac. No, he went through the tarmac, straight into a private jet, and brought to Nigeria. According to his lawyers, he was abducted by some Kenyans who said that he was a terrorist linked to Nigerian Islamic. I'm trying to get it right here. It says, can't find it anymore. He said Kanun was tortured and subjected to untold inhuman treatment by Kenya. He says abductors disclosed to him that they abducted him as the behest of Nigerian government. He said the people had. I'm trying to see where they said that he was an Islamic terrorist. I'm trying to find out here. Wow. I can't find it here. But I know I read it earlier. But pretty much he was saying that he was blindfolded and brought into the country suddenly, and he found himself here. Okay, let's move on to, we have to wrap up very soon. Any other story? Moving on very quickly, Vanguard. Electoral Act reps in free for all, anger in Senate. PIBB rowdy reps session over 3% for all commodities. Nobody said communities. Let's take that story. That's the only story we've not taken.
The Southern senators, of course, objected to the House of Reps. You know, the House of Reps has originally voted for 5% in the PIBB bill.
Yeah.
But because the Senate were able to convince and stand on their 3% that, they were, arguing about earlier, that now brought the 3% issue back to the House of Reps, where you had honorables from the Southern states objecting that, what is this? In fact, in the Senate, the only senator that objected to this was the one from Bayelsa, former governor, who staged a walkout, and they all voted for 3%. And so the House of Reps, we had a back and forth, rowdy sessions yesterday. Some people were said to be throwing blows and all of that over the issue. But they want to vote now to peg it at 3%, which the Southern representatives are wondering why. I expect that, we should take proper records of our history and be very objective, fair and just at this time. These are people, even though they have their leaders corrupt, they've suffered so much from the exploration and all of that happening, and we do not have a recourse for them yet. Everything that is promised is in the future for them. Cleaning up of Ogoni land is still in the future. Everything is in future tense. Nothing has happened yet.
Even the NDDC that was established. Everything in future tense. Yeah, the NDDC that was established also, they also are complicit in this, remember?
In this. Yeah. They've not done anything concrete for them. I would love to see that they clean up certain areas and we can see how restoration is possible. Yeah. So we can tell them, keep quiet, 3% is okay. But for now,
and also the leaders that are scamming them of the money they're supposed to go to them. They have to be prosecuted.
I agree.
We have to run, but let me just rephrase what happened with Kanun, what his lawyer was saying, that he was seen as a Nigerian terrorist linked to the Islamic terrorist in Kenya. But later, when they now discovered his true identity, they decided to treat him better, less badly, because according to him, they tortured him when he was initially captured. Once they then realized that he wasn't an Islamic terrorist, they then began to treat him
because Kenya is going through their fair share of terrorism.
All right, we have to run. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, move on to our next topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Laburu is coming. So thanks for staying with us. Now, but we found out that Netflix is going to be premiering Laburu is coming very soon, and we're pretty excited because from the stables of where that movie King of Boys 1 came from, we are expecting Laburu is coming, and it's quite exciting because, it just brings memories back of how that movie went, the feelings you got when you watched that movie. It was long, but it gripped you. It made you stay on till the end. Nima, you're going to tell us here.
So I'm just wondering who is Laburu now. So towards the end, Makanaki was able to clip the wings of the King of Boys herself. And at some point, when I thought, she was gone, at the very end, she sat again at the table. But I have a feeling that Laburu is Makanaki. Because he was shot. Multiple bullets.
No, but she just said that Laburu, so she stood up. So she's probably Laburu.
This is even middle of the movie. At the end of the movie, she came back on the throne and she
was serving food.
No. She came back. She went on virtual meeting now. She went on virtual meeting.
Oh, you watched the movie?
3 times. 3 times. Don't get me addicted, but she tried small. So she went on virtual meeting, and the boys who worked with Makanaki on that last job
were talking to her.
His closest rival PIBB was made to kill him. Multiple bullets that you would think he's dead. I have the feeling.
That he may be the Laburu.
No,
because I also called that out.
I think she might be Laburu because you never know. You see, I like the fact that...
She has been the Laburu later.
She has established now. She has come back. So when did Makanaki die? I want to see the movie.
Okay, well, Laburu is coming. I'm excited that Netflix is part of this experience. The first time it was in cinemas. But that means that we're all going to watch it on Netflix. We're not going to watch it in the cinema. The fact that we've all waited for this to come. We're waiting. With the actor, Shola Sobowale, she's amazing. I'm pained that this one had to die. Honestly, she did not deserve to die in that movie. I cried like a baby.
Oh my God.
I cried. I literally cried. It was such an emotional
I really like Tony Tones in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
I know that she was the younger version of Shola Sobowale. I just hope in some way she'll be brought back. I love the way she just embodied her character.
Aside the characters for me is the fact that Shola Sobowale lost 2 children. No mother will be not sane.
After
that.
Even if you're a Laburu, that's the way they break you.
Who was your favorite actor, BBC? Do you remember?
Shola Sobowale.
Oh, really? Interesting.
So anytime I see her in a movie, I already know that I'm going to have fun.
Or drama.
She has a way of bringing it. I know I'm a drama person. I get attracted to dramatic people because I am. So she was, and I loved, what's this, Baki's wife? Adeswa, yeah. So she had that role where she was tough, but she was still learning. Like she was learning. I would have loved to see more
inherit
of her.
mother.
Yeah,
It
something like that.
But for me, Remy is a rapper.
I did
Him as well.
I did not know the head voice. I didn't see this coming.
I don't even know his name as Remy. His name Makanaki. That is his name. You know, so I'm pretty excited about Laboris coming. I mean, it's going to be an exciting time to watch that movie. I was hoping to see if you can get a clip of it, but I've not seen it yet.
Yeah.
Okay, there it is. Laboru is coming. Hey, that's Laboru. It can't be Makanaki.
No, Anna, you don't follow me.
I get feeling.
Okay, I'm telling you that.
You know this movie,
changes.
especially with this movie. I mean, the way that the first one was told, you know, it surprised us in many ways. So I'm surprised. I'm sure we'll be getting into a lot more surprises.
Yeah.
For a young director and producer, you try. Twale for you.
Well done to her. All right, so we're going to go on a quick break now. We're looking forward to that movie, and the moment it's out, we'll definitely let you know.
Hitting
but,
Netflix.
But definitely something that we think we should watch. I don't know how long this movie is going to be, though. I don't know if it's going to be also 3 hours.
I don't mind, though.
I hope.
I didn't mind the length of the movie. All I love is that we've seen mafia, we've seen the terror and horror of all movies of Europe.
Countries and
so
all that.
something that I could relate with me, with my
back then, you can sit down and watch 3-4 hours of The Godfather.
But it says a lot about the production and the directing and everything, because as long as it was, we sat till the end.
Yes.
I remember then when we watched that one, everybody ended every time people watched it with
But
an
I'm
applause,
hoping that after this sequel now, we're going to have it as a season. I love season movies.
Don't start. Please, let's not water it down. No.
It's a watered down.
No, you water it down. Exactly.
To water it down.
They will not be looking for what
They will have new Labourus coming up from time to time.
Let's go on a break. When we come back, move on to other topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, a Nollywood actress has slammed adults who are over 30 years, saying that they can't stop asking their parents for money at the age of 30. According to her, she described it as a shame for people at that age to be asking their parents for money. Do you agree with her? At what age should we be financially independent, especially in Nigeria? Abroad, we know that young kids from 18, they kick you out. But here, you are in parents' house, I mean, and you stay on, and people wonder, okay, at what age do you begin to become independent of your parents? You can call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-76948. You can also send us messages on YouTube and Facebook. We'll be happy to read your messages. I remember when I was, when I finally turned 18, you know, and my brother was so happy, you know, there was this excitement, oh, you're not 18, adult, you know, did everything they're supposed to do for me. And at the end of the day, he now told me, well, so phone bills, you're going to start paying that. He said I should sharing the bill for me, because he did every day we're calling Nigeria. This is the amount. So we're going to extract your own calls, and this is how much you're going to be paying. So you pay so you now know. Then when it was time for me to go to school, okay, you get your own apartment, we'll support you. You know, it was like a coming of age. So I had to move in with people and share, you know. So, but in Nigeria, we don't have that culture. It's more honorable for you to stay home till you get married. You know, it's an honorable thing for you to do. Like you are here, your husband found you here, or you married from your home. You know, that kind of thing. Is that what we want to preach? I don't want us to focus so much on what she said, but the culture. Is this some of the culture we want to start reviewing, or we think it's something we should keep?
Okay, let me even start by saying that I'm very conscious of making blanket statements, because may life not happen to us. May life not happen to us. Everybody has hopes and aspirations on how they want their children to turn out, and then you do your best, you give them the education, you make sure that they are okay, and out of 7 you have, 1 now decides to go the other way and probably is not able to do, because I have people around me who have seen that they have raised these kids. They raised them under one roof. It's not like there was a stepmother or a stepfather anywhere. It was the normal, perfect nuclear family, and one child just decides to be useless. And there's nothing that anybody can do about it. And you see mommy running to church to pray, what is happening to this, my son? And it's not because they did not try for those kids to be able to stand on their own feet by 30, but they have done everything. And someone clog in the wheel just appeared and decided to, this is how I want to live my life. Everybody should face the other way, you know? So, but as parents, I think there's something they didn't teach us growing up, which is how to make money and handle money even as children. So a lot of us get into school, finish school before we're even realizing how to start understanding money, the value of money, how to work for money and all of that. But to be deliberate in how we raise our children, we need to start paying attention to all of those things. How do your children relate with money? Do you give them money education? Do you give them financial intelligence? Some of us are learning this at old age now. So we need to, you know, do all that we can. But if a child chooses to go the other way, it's only prayer. You can't sit at home and be insulting somebody that you are still collecting money from your father at 30. You really do not understand what is happening.
Okay, Miriam, what are your thoughts on this? Because here we don't, our kids don't go for summer. They don't work during summertime. They just hang out and play. So a child who has never worked all their life, how do you expect a person to leave home at a certain age?
So that's part of that culture, the Western culture, that I truly admire. That a child, no matter the home, so it's not that you're from a rich home or a poor home, you take out 1 year, they take out the gap year. Some of them just go on their own, get jobs. Some of them also, during holidays, they do the summer jobs. And I love the fact that when you're 18, you just know that you have some responsibilities. May not necessarily mean taking you out of your house, but you know that now you live in this house, you pay the bills. It goes a long way in shaping you into becoming very responsible. And you know, to be fair to our culture, so I've seen this work out in many ways. It's just not as, it's not just as it's not played out deliberately in Nigerian culture as it is abroad. So you see people who their parents maybe sell in the market. Their children do all that. From they follow mommy to the market. They know all the places that she goes to buy for wholesale. They know how to retail. They know the price. They know how to market. So you know that part of, if you have your child be a part of your business, of your, you know, whatever it is you're doing, the child just naturally learn all the skills and becomes more responsible. So it's just that we don't make, it's not something that we have made it like a deliberate thing, but we actually do it. People, carpenters, you see their babies with little hammers just following them, and before long, they're able to do things. Mechanics, we do that with our children, but most times we do them with the children that come from maybe a socioeconomic class that, you know, they can't afford. But I think it is important that we imbibe this culture.
Let me be sure, because it seems that, so it's not that they were moving out, it's like making the children responsible.
Yes,
so
even while they have.
They are staying home till 30, but you are responsible doing something. Maybe that's an interesting angle. Yes, Nima.
Miriam just took everything out of my mouth, the way I would want to say it. We have our differences and our cultures are different. So a child, unmarried, female, below 30, no, they live in Papa house here. So it's not, you just don't just go and live alone.
Well, should we review that?
Even the people are
because a 25-year-old is an adult. She's a mature adult.
Even while we're reviewing it, the demands are the same. So you either leave home to school, hostel, and all of that, you come back. If you do have a job far from your parents' house, you can actually share. But it's hard to see you just go and get a place. You either stay with relatives. And we had our culture, we had our reasons. You know, a lot of things are happening today were not happening then when we maintained it. I know that when I left my parents' house, I stayed with Auntie Bimbo and I maintained. Yes, I stayed with her and I maintained. And they want to be sure when they ask her, I am there at night and I'm there in the morning and I'm there, you know, so I had someone to answer to. And it made me a much more better person. I think that's what I would copy for my child. I wouldn't just say, madam, you are now free. Go and be doing what you like. But as a young girl, at 9, I'd been grinding pepper for my mother. She was an Elero. So By the time I was 16, if you count money, I don't know maths, but I know money. So by the time I was 16, I had a business plan. I started a business, even without funds. I started with about 10,000, and then I moved into a bigger business that I had no funds. But I had a friend's mom who thought, this girl is very like that. Let me give her the opportunity. Alaja Davis, my Larissa, so would give me goods from the island. I would sell them in school. I would bring back to her. And my parents saw me do all of that, and they encouraged it. I had the savings. I would do their job. I would do all of that growing up. Wow. And then they would make sure in the house you had a role. It was my own role to deal with NEPA. The bills that come every month, the payments of it. It wasn't exactly my money I was paying, but I would be the one to go and queue at the office. If they had questions relating to NEPA in my house, I had a folder, a file, where I put every bill paid every month. So when the accounts were changing then, in the olden days, PHTN and all, you could track it. I had the file for every of the bills paid. And my father would say, NEPA, you have come 1 minute. Nima, you come and answer for that. So everybody in the house had one duty or the other. But I went to visit a cousin, and it pains me because their parents are even much more hardworking than mine. But these children are so entitled. As they're even going into their 20s, the demands just continue. So my friend is having a party. Mommy, money for the Ashebi. And you know my friends are going to laugh. In my father's house, you earn it. I had my Ashebis paid for by my dad, but I earned it. I could say, the wedding is coming, and you have to give 2 months notice ahead of any place you go.
Let me come to this, because
question and answer.
Recently, I had an abroad that stays in my house, and her mom knows she stays with me. And then she comes to me and said, okay, she wants to get her own place. And immediately I understood. For me, I was happy because I felt that I have been through this phase where you are itching, you want to get out, you want to be able to go to clubs without anybody telling you, where are you? So I had that phase in my life. So I allowed her, but when I said with the people, like, why would you allow her to go there? Let her stay under your house, at least she's just 22, where she go, what's she looking for? So as much as, yes, I supported her to become independent because I wanted her to pay her bills, see how it is. Eventually, she might come back and say, I can't handle it, but I felt that it was important for me to let her go. Let her see the world, and then she needs to come back. But why are parents scared of taking that leap or allowing their children take that leap of go out? Must you stay in the house all this while?
No, so things are changing really fast, and it will be unfair to us and our children if we do not adjust certain things about our culture. They say when you are taught in school, there's always a time for you to write the examinations. And when you're asked to write that examinations, your teacher will not be there pointing to you the answers. You have to figure it out yourself. So what I see is because of the way our culture is very closely knitted, we like to, brood over our children. And before we want to release them, even the men that are getting, I remember when my husband wanted to get married at 20-something, he was like, no, you have to be 30 first to get married and everything. It was difficult for them to release him. Yes, so even while he was working and everything, because he was still in the house. We like to just, it's our culture anyway, and it has served us. But now we need to start reviewing going forward. How is it serving us? So we end up having a lot of children who feel that they can always run to mommy and daddy to get things. And if anything happens, there's always one support or the other. And then something happens and you lose those parents and you see them struggling because they've not mastered the act of staying alone and building themselves. So as an adult, even if you do not release them, but if a child says, like now that we are here, we're not hoping they will say, but if they say, okay, at 25, Mom, I have a good job, I have this, I have that, can I move out? I will respect you and say, okay, if that is what you want, you move out. You can move out. Because I trust that the things, the little virtues you have picked from me, you should be able to. Let me see you even operate in the real world without mommy and daddy and see how you turn out. So let me release myself to allow you do that.
So for me, I'm one of those people that encourages, and I really love the fact that a young person can leave home and go and find their feet. You make mistakes, but you're right. You know what right behind you. You know what to do. You know where to come back home to. So it's important, and I see it for children who are independent young. When you interact with them, there are some things for those of us who were so protected, so shielded. There are things like, I want to go to the market. Looking, who will go with me? Yeah. For those who will be independent, they get up, they do it, and they're done. They may make mistakes, but they learn from their mistakes. And because you are not even allowed to make any mistakes. I would like to have a child who is that way inclined, who is like, I'm ready. And I'm not saying a person who is badly behaved and is trying to run away from responsibilities at home just so that you want to go and party or club. But because you know that, see, I'm earning some money, or I have a job here, it will be easier for me to get a house closer to my job. Mommy, please, can I have this? And if you cannot even pay rent, I'll pay rent, but I know that you're paying for your light bill, you're paying for food, you're taking care of, you're putting petrol in your car. I love that.
Peers. I mean, when the peers are sharp, they understand.
Where would they learn it from?
It's from this sharp, but all those nice mommy,
they can't do that.
They can't do that sharp work he's going to do. Let's go to the program. We come back and continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. All right, so we're still talking about setting a child free. And I like us to go to the angle of a mother's worst fears. When you allow a child, 22, 23, say, you know, mommy, I have a good job, I'm working at the bank, I can afford to have an apartment, I want to live on the island, I have a car, you know, and the mother says, okay, I'm letting you go, but there's that fear of, okay, you have bad friends, people take advantage of you, men come to the house anytime, you know, how would the man see you and still want to make you a wife? When he sees that you are free for all, and that's the mentality an average parent would have in Nigeria. That, so you're now the person that they don't come into the house anytime. Men are here, women are here, and they're partying. You don't look responsible anymore. You know. So those fears, are those fears valid today? I mean, are these fears that we can talk about, where our parents can say, you know, can we begin to review our fears? How do we allay the fears of parents who feel this way? And that's why they're restricting their children from getting that independence early.
There's no perfect answer for that. So may we not regret the decisions that we make concerning our children. Amen. But, you know, for one who wasn't released at all, I think release was gradual. So a lot of things that I did under their watch, I appreciate that I did them, and I could find someone say to me, you do this one well, so. And when I'm dealing with the consequences, they'll say, Shebi, you have learned. You know, shopping alone was early. Saving the money towards it was also early. So as my mother's little girl, we earned 10 naira per day. So I had a savings. And my best friend, Eniola, then would put it together. When it's Badagry Day, we'll go to shopping together. We'll make some choices. We'll come home. My mother will say, you open your eye, buy this thing. You get sense, so the next time I went, I want to do something impressive, and you never bought me to impress my mother. Never. So tomorrow I have the fears of buying it. So some things you would save around your child that would completely discourage them. See, tomorrow now, I can't price me.
Let me take this call. I come to Mariam. Good morning. Are you there? Dorcas?
Yes?
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Sweet voice.
Yes. Okay, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Dorcas.
This is my first time calling.
Welcome to the show.
Okay, so to contribute on the topic,
yes.
I think this thing depends on so many factors.
Go ahead.
Hello?
We can hear you very clearly, Dorcas. Please go ahead. It's probably listening to the TV and it's really delayed. When you call the television, it's delayed when you get to the house. So just go ahead.
Yeah, so I was going to say that, you know, when a child decides to leave home, as you say, it's in stages and it's in phases. So you're not going to send a child that you know that is fully dependent and not ready out. So for my son, he'll be turning 10 towards the end of the year. And one of the gifts he's getting is that he'll be moving into his own room. He's shared a room with his sister forever. So he'll be moving into his own room. And this year, his goal is to make sure that this room that he shares with his sister is always kept clean. The shoes are kept well. His wardrobe is neatly arranged. The cupboard. And he takes it seriously because he wants to move into his own room. And he knows to move into his own room, whatever he wants the color of the wall to be and everything that he wants, the idea of that room is his. So he's working towards it. And because of that, I have a boy who is paying attention to keeping his room clean. The other day he was saying, Mommy, I've just arranged this whole place. Emma keeps messing it up. Yes. Now, he also understands what it takes for other people to clean up after him.
And he messes up.
So he respects people. He understands that when someone is sweeping, you give some time, and then when you drop something on the floor, you pick it up. So that is what you do with a child over and over. You're building this child. So when they get to an age, and then you hope, but you know, as you said, you hope to God that it stays, it sticks, and then they run with it. It's so heartbreaking when you do all this and then it does not turn out.
Child comes, gets an apartment and becomes something else. Because you feel like I have protected this girl all her life. I want you to live here and just go and go to your husband's house. At least I know you are safe. But that one that you in an apartment by yourself, hey.
We just like to deceive ourselves as Nigerian parents. Under your nose, things are happening.
Hey,
under your nose, things are cooling. Under your nose, things are missing.
People are jumping out of the window.
Under your nose, things are happening. What will happen when your nose is not there?
So the thing is, no, listen. Let me give you two scenarios. So I had a friend who the parents were free. So she could bring her friends home, whether it's a boy or a girl. Mommy, daddy knows her friends. You know, she would tell them she's going to a party. They would drop her in front of the party, pick her up and all of that. And to God, this girl was intact throughout the university. And she wears skimpies. In fact, when she comes to my house, my father will be eyeing her like, why is this girl always dressing up? But she was a very good girl. So the idea was she knew that I could always tell mommy anything. And her mother would give her the right advice. I would always tell mommy, I have this crush, somebody's this, somebody that. They would talk about it. She was free to go out. And, so she didn't see those things as something forbidden that she would be itching to. No, hold on, no. Then we now had the other friend who, if you as much as do bye-bye, they will carry cutlass and chase you. Nobody was allowed to come close.
That's the one that...
So she now...
In the house. She would go to school and go to other places and was doing things. She was badder than the one who had that free hand.
Yes. Let me take this call. Yemi has been holding. Are you there, Yemi?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. You're live. Go ahead, please.
All right, I would like to contribute to...
Please do.
Okay, I would like to take myself as an example. Growing up, staying with my parents, I remember the first time I got that feeling in class. The first thing my dad told me was, he's sending me to school to read. So this freedom of this that it is allowed, even my parents do. And now I'm married. I can say that I became aware of myself and my financial status when I got married. Because they didn't allow me to be free, first of all. They didn't allow me to explore, go for intake, to just be at home if you want to provide for you. So now that I'm grown, and I have a junior brother, and they want to pass the same thing to my senior brother, I have to call in and see, okay, during the strike and all it was, I have to tell them, go and learn the skill. Go and do this. Try and relate to it, because my parents, they are not friends, they don't keep friends. So I'm like the one that is very social, and I have to think what I have to bring that came from the type of family I would have loved.
Thank you, Yemi. The line is a bit blurry. We didn't hear you properly.
I think you were saying something about how she was put inside the house all through caged, and then they wanted to use the same method for her younger brother. So she had to tell her brother that go out there, learn a skill, don't just stay within and all of that. So but let me quickly land what I was saying before Mariah took the call. So it's important that we teach the virtues, release them a bit. Let them test it. Let them make their mistakes. From their mistakes, you know what you need to handle more, what you need to work on, what you can point them to. You teach again for a bit, you release them. But if you say, okay, because I want to really protect you and hold them, you can't tell when finally they leave how they would act with all the things, whether they learned it, whether they were paying attention and all of that. So it's time that we learn to, as parents, I know you love them, but release them a bit, test them.
It's enough releasing of children when you allow them. In fact, sexual education in Nigeria is release. So the child that goes and comes back, you can then help. You can supervise. The child can, if you have the kind, some relationships where you can talk without being judged. So I have every toasters discussion with my auntie, with my father. I knew that nobody was judging me. They'll be laughing, you know. So my mistakes were sharing easily. But I saw my dad's reaction, even though he trusted what he had done. One time when we were living in Ibadan Estate, so a lot of LASSO students then had not gotten admission, had their hostels in the estate. And one evening, he sat with my mom at the shop. A parent dropped her child. They called her cousin and said she'll be staying with you because they want her to be free and all of that. And by the evening of the third day, the cousin had introduced the girl to a call girl service. And when they dropped her off, it was on my dad's way to Subuhi early morning prayers. And he cried when he came home. He said, are you sure you girls want to go to school? Are you sure? This is someone who thought he had done well with his children. I was like, why would he be the person? You know, I don't want to give you to anybody. So for me, my mom felt Auntie Bimbo had a mentorship role to play in my life. So staying in her house, yes, I had my toasters. In fact, they were coming to our house. And we'll sit down and discuss, if I, you know. So I think guidance for a child, even when they are with you or not, is extremely important. And if it takes you releasing them not at all, it's okay.
I know the mother who, when her daughter went out, I think it was 24 or something like that, you know, she was very reluctant. She didn't want that child to leave the house at all. And the condition was that I'll have a key to your apartment. I can go in anytime. You know that, and you know. So she close monitored the child. So anything while the child is in school, she can stop by, cook up some food, make sure that you know, just sort out the house for the girl. The girl will come back home and mommy has been here. So she was alone but not alone. The mother comes around and checks on her. So just like you said, you can allow them a bit, but give them boundaries, and then gradually to the point that they're now able
continue
to
share your mistakes with them. There was a nasty experience. My mom had shared an experience she had as a girl with me, and I went out with a friend, and she was saying, we're just going for a party, only for us to get there. We're just 2 girls at this party, 4 guys. And my friend got up and said, my mom sent me on an errand, so we'll see at home. When I told my mother at home, I'm following you. We've gone together, we follow everywhere. Are you crazy? Because if she left, as she was planning to leave me, I just went back to my mother's stories. My mom could tell stories forever. That, me, 4 guys.
But that's you paying attention.
Paying attention.
But also, I think we need to, there's this part of Nigerian upbringing also that we do with Nigerian girls and daughters, where the mothers will ban you from having boyfriends, ban you from hanging out with girlfriends.
Let's go there.
All of a sudden, you're 26, 27, and they're like, where is the husband? You're like, how? Hey, hello? You stopped it. All of a sudden, I'm supposed to materialize.
Let's go there. As a mother, yes, at what age you allow your child to start dating? I mean, we're not qualified because all our children, so hopefully we can get some calls. All our children are babies. But I would like to, from your experiences and you've been through a teenager, I mean, when was it okay to say, okay, I have a boyfriend? Where was the time? When is the right time to declare, when mom see, that's my man?
I don't know, but let me tell you something. As a teenager, I was very tall, skinny, gangly. Guys were not attracted to me. And I feel, for the girls who were really cute and pretty, I felt that they had a lot to, I mean, in hindsight, like, my God, how did they cope with all the teenage juices and everything? So I prayed that my daughter, when she's the teenager, she'll be tall, thin, and gangly. And you get her, give her some time to mature before she gets there. You know, this is something I heard Will Smith was talking about his daughter. He said, because his daughter was raised in a home where men are respectful, she was raised around good men, she could not detect bad guys. When she became 17, 18, she would be doing things with boys anyhow. She didn't have the radar to say, this person may have bad, intentions. She didn't get that. And that's the thing, we raise our children in a wholesome environment and then we release them to the world. And then so my own is I hope she's much older before she goes.
Are you there? Oh, we lost that.
So,
let me come to you.
Yeah, so,
you already know your own.
Okay, so I think we need to start having conversations with my daughters is becoming a teenager. And we need to start having conversations about dating and what proper dating means. So some of us grew up in an era where we didn't have that conversation with our parents. So we didn't know what dating meant. And you just see people around, they've dated this person, they've cancelled the person, they dated that person, they've cancelled, they've run through 10 people, his body counts 10, some 15, 20, and all that. But when we now start raising kids, you need to understand or make them understand that dating is about getting to know this person. So one of the rules that I have, and I learned that from my church, my father's church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, where they allow teenagers date, is that you must not go to this person's place without a friend. You must go in twos. You must go to open places, maybe like an eatery or park, just get to know the person. That's dating. So from 18, you can have that. You can date. You can say, okay, I'm dating John or I'm dating Jude. Jude can come to my place. You must have conversations in open places. You know the boundaries. You set the boundaries. So, no. See, you will do, as a parent, you will do your best. Yes, you will teach what you can teach. If you decide to go and be crazy, it's on you.
Let me go on a break. I would really like to know how a Muslimat woman like Nima was able to date. We'll come back after the break and talk about it. Set up.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we started this conversation talking about when to release an adult into the world to begin to live a life, make a responsible living. But now we're now going into at what point do you let a child start dating as a teenager? So you're talking about dating.
Yes, I was talking about dating. And I also want to say that let's ensure that we teach both the boys and the girls the same thing. So what I see is the girls are taught differently on how to comport themselves at the dating and all of that. The boys are given more like a free hand. For you to be a boy, there are certain things you should have done at a certain age. Don't tell whose daughter. Because we always forget that part of the story. Yeah. And also, let's not ignore their feelings. Their body changes at the time, and there are certain things that they feel. So while you're talking to them about dating, you should also talk to them how to handle the feelings when it comes. So we always assume our girls don't like boys. They do. Yeah. And they may not tell you. So, hey, if a boy is liking you, do it like this, do it like that. If you are liking the boy, Yunko, have you taught that girl how to handle that feeling? So let's have that open conversation. When you have so and so feeling, understand it's a feeling, and you can control your body. Yeah. When the time is right, you will do it. You will be tired. Let us break it down.
Let me come to you, Nima.
Okay, so
how was dating for you?
I dated. I had my parents would expose you to certain circle, and so most possibly you would date in that circle, and they won't judge you. So I remember that 18, when I had someone first of all say to me that you want to date me, I came home and I said to my parents that somebody wants to date me, and you'll be visiting here every day. So the wrong thing that wasn't allowed in my house is have a secret relationship. If they will sit you down and tell you if you find out something will happen. So the person can call. My father used to call, we don't want a demand outside. So when they ask you, give the demand. You'll be able to. This is the best thing you want to do. And he didn't impose religion early. He didn't say religiously this is what you do. He first of all established my dignity so well that if you are dating me and you're talking certain things, I feel that you're disrespectful to me. Immediately, I love that. He will push you out. So I dated and I broke off relationships and I enjoyed it. So and I got to.
There was no secret for you.
No secret. Even the older person. Was a conversation where I remember that older person conversation, and I was shocked that my parents weren't judging me. My mom was quick to judge, but my dad, like, I trust you do the right thing. And I always made sure.
Let me do this call. Ola has been holding from Lekki. Thanks for calling. Are you there? Ola? Yeah, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I actually love your topic, and I remember a story, not a true life story, when I was growing up, and there was this brother that in university, so we were just looking up to him. So there was a particular girl that they don't normally allow her to go out. She comes from secondary school, she go back. So when the lady girl gained admission to university, so the guy was there. So in somewhere they were packing, when you get admission, your parents will be happy. They were packing the food store and everything that she was going to school. So the guy called us. I said, okay, if you know, he said, I pity this girl that's going to school. So if the woman should know that they wouldn't have allowed her to go to school, I was like, what's going on? So I didn't understand until I get admission to university. And there was a particular call girl that was everywhere. So she now told us that, okay, what she was doing was because of her parents. Because when she was growing up, her parents told her that whenever a man touches you like this, you are pregnant. So as a result of that, so when she got to university, so she got that, okay, a man touched me and there was nothing. So that means that my parents lied to me. So as a result of that, she came in and then she went wild. So that was.
I went touching.
So be careful with
thank you, Ola. We're going to that. So that was Nima said earlier. There are no secrets.
So I agree with that sort of upbringing with our children, boys or girls. We need to be honest with them. We need to open the lines of communication. A boy writes her a little note, a cross letter, and she brings it to you. Mommy, that's not the time to remind her of Jesus said. Jesus did not send you to school, because I had that with my mom. My mom, I don't know, the way she did it was like, anytime you brought up, at a certain age, anytime I brought up anything, it was like, is that what I sent you to school to do? is that what your mates are doing? So I just knew that with her, you do not have that sort of conversation. But then as I grew older, then she would want to have the conversation, but she was not the go-to for me because like I was not comfortable discussing that with her. You know, that was something we had to build later on. So, and I saw friends who their parents were like the cool moms. They would discuss everything with them. They would tell them everything. They seemed to make less mistakes.
Yeah.
And there was another thing. Secondly, they seemed to also know who they were. They were confident and they had pride in who they were. You know, there's that age as a teenager where when the heartbreak is as if you're about to die. You see them crying. Oh, it was Valentine's. Someone just sent them cake. They will be all over the floor. And it used to bother me. Like, if this is what it is, I really don't want to be in it. So it's important that children have a mentor, a parent, that they can discuss these feelings because it's new. It's just like walking for a child. You hold their hands, you give them a walker. So with emotions, it has to be that way as well, that you're there to guide them.
Let me take this call from Lillian. Lillian, are you there? Hello, Lillian, are you there?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, you're live. Go ahead, please.
I'm first-time caller.
Welcome to the show. Go ahead, Lillian. All right, so I was going to talk about, because as we're having this conversation on, it's never too late to start having this conversation with your teenagers. Because I know that, I mean, my very first love letter came when I was in primary school. I'll never forget that guy, Bolaji Balug or something like that.
Oh my God, you kept it in there?
I remember, like it's there. He loved me, this love letter with this nice, I kept it till I was in secondary school because it meant so much to me. I cherished it for a long time.
You people were the ones that enjoyed now. At that time, they were not fine. They did not wear langa.
So I had that, and you know, but there was so much secrecy, and I really don't want us to touch on that. There's more secret, so I kept it secret, and all through the people, the boyfriends you have, you keep it secret. You just hush, 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 hush. It was until I came to the US where I was living with my brother's wife, and she broke it down. Like so I got there at 15. But at 15, she still had enough opportunity to help me understand. So reorientate me. She taught me everything, what you see at parties, how you go out in twos, don't go, you know, she really schooled me. So if a parent is watching us right now, and you feel like they didn't have that conversation, no matter, it's never too late.
Yeah,
even if she's 17 or 18,
it's
it's
too late.
never
Because
too late.
you see trust. Trust takes a while.
You have to build it.
My mom was such a disciplinarian that at some point, if I didn't have my dad as my right-hand person, I probably wouldn't talk to any of my parents. But she knew when she had overdone it. And so she looked towards my auntie and said, Bimbo, help with these girls. You know, be their auntie. And my auntie used to call me Shume. Shume means you're sheltered, virgin, everything. You don't have eyes. So I wanted to prove that I'm smart and everything. So if you're talking to me, I sit well. And then when I went on dates in my auntie's house, was most interesting. She would take some money and give you.
Just in case.
Just in case you're insulted.
Nima,
pay for your food.
A typical date. I want to hear that.
This is a typical date. Go to a tree, have lunch and chop with
Yes,
so maybe once in a while.
No touching, no kissing. It's a question now.
No touching. Even I didn't want to be touched. So
even if you're not a Muslim, no touching, no kissing.
When the movie started, that was what my best friend Obi said, that because you're a Muslim, you'll be saying no touching for yourself and be allowing touching for me. So say, actually, is your friend now. You should. I should be like,
let me take this call. Moi, are you there?
Yes, I am.
You're live. Go ahead, please, Moi.
Okay. I believe there's no perfect parent. Only a parent that God has helped.
Yes.
And
Wisdom, girl.
for every child, they are unique. And I believe every parent needs discernment and skill to train every child accordingly. Because we cannot have a particular measure for everyone. You have to study your child, if it's a girl or a boy. What is good for A might not be good for B. And what is good for B might not be good for A. So I believe every parent should desire the grace of discernment so we can handle the children differently and how we should. So we won't make mistakes in life. So basically, That's my contribution.
Thank you. Such a wise young woman.
Yes.
So this, I wanted to come to the kissing no matter what.
Okay.
Because this thing, because we all have this night, we're having a conversation now. We'll just go on dates, go and watch a movie and go home. Yeah, right. Is that what you do?
Yes.
Okay, no, you said your own. Is that what you do?
Yes.
But that's not what I hear they do.
What do you hear?
What did you do? Tell me what I heard they do.
They go far. It's true.
Listen,
Real life.
let's break it down.
Real life.
Because in real life, you're 16, you're 18, you like a guy, you go to the movies. I see these young girls. They do much more than just watch a movie. They are doing they are. I don't use the hard word. I'm looking at the soft word. They are cuddling. Yes, cuddling is a good word. They cuddle. They do stuff like that in the movies. So as a parent, I don't know, how do you picture and even see your child? Somebody is cuddling my baby in the cinema. I don't want to phantom that picture.
I pray it will not happen. I'm going to fasting and prayer for this man.
So this is the conversation I want us to have. Like, there's a parent right now who has shielded their child or their boy, their son, all their lives, and this child she has a guy that she really, really likes. And the guy is putting her under pressure to do a lot of things. These girls girls have this pressure.
Yes, they
want to touch, they want to hold, they want to do this. And you're like, I'm an adult. I'm now, busy, help me out.
Mariah, you can always only do what you can do as a parent, which is to give the guidance. The person who would implement will decide for herself what she wants to implement.
But she doesn't know what she wants for herself. She's too young to know what she wants for herself.
We assume she doesn't know what she wants for herself, but her body is speaking to her and she wants to listen to the body. So you train
them to talk to the body?
Yes. Listen. So you can train them to understand self-awareness.
Okay.
How exactly am I feeling about this person?
Okay.
Now have the conversation that you should first of all value your body. Value who you are. Value your dignity. Build in them from very early a very good self-esteem that they are not seeking for validation from the outside. So when the guy does not say, I love you, are not killing yourself because you know daddy and mommy loves you and everybody around you loves you. If you make them value themselves, they will, on their own, not want to give it out cheaply. They will put a price by themselves. They put a price by themselves. So hold on, Nima. So you start teaching them early that these feelings will come, but ask yourself, is this person worth it? Can I give myself to this person?
May I say something? So I get that conversation. I mean, for many of us growing up, we used to see those movies. I don't know if you remember them, where they will show those teenage pregnancy movies. They will show a girl and a boy and how the boy will tell her all these things. We grew up in church where they tell you the words, you are the temple, your body is the temple. So we hear all those things. But then we have our friends, our peers, who will tell us how wonderful we are. The person you listen to is the one that is closest in age to you. That's the one you find the most relatable. They are coming home, they are coming back to the dormitory with teddy bear and cake and everything. So those are the people. See, my own is I still pray that my child does not develop early. I'm telling you.
Those are what should have developed. What should we do now?
Secondly, the second one is communication. And then as a parent, then you need to understand that some things will happen and that you can't control it.
With or without you.
Yes. So you know that thing, the parenting, there's a parenting that we do, which is the parenting of controlling everything.
You can't.
And I think a parent will start getting some relief and some confidence when they realize that I can't control everything, but I'm trusting you that this is what I'm teaching you and this is the reason why, and I'm trusting that you make the right decision for yourself. You have to start teaching a child about disappointing themselves. You know, it's not about disappointing me. How do you feel? How does it make you feel?
Let me take Victor, then I come to Nima. Victor, are you there?
So be a storytelling parent. I loved my parents' stories. And I must say thank you to my mentors. I had mothers. My wedding said there before that, sat as my mothers. I had mothers who were willing to dash me their stories. And one of them, she was a pastor's daughter, a bishop's daughter. She grew up in, and they gave, they would leave her for another very Christian family. And then the son had gotten into bad gang and decided to rape her. I heard that story at 15, turning 16. It wising me up, sharp. I borrow sense. So I love the stories that I grew up around. I knew when I leave my drink, and the possibility of what could happen.
Yeah.
When I didn't trust anybody. So I think we should be storytelling parents. My dad used to do something. On Sundays, Pastor PIBB Dukoya, may she rest, she was had a session on LTV, singles and something.
Yeah.
As Christian as that show was, all of you come here, fame in this house, come and watch it, because on her show, on that sermon, what they call this in church, that session,
sermon,
she would give sermon about chastity, and then people will come and be sharing their experience. And there was a particular session on secondary virginity and all of those things. So the mistakes people were sharing, the fathers just sat in the crowd and let us digest it. And I remember that night, what we call the talim, we do a family session, and he was just going on and on about, that person, what do you think happened? So we were the ones expressing what we thought could have happened. I think enrich your children with the stories of your past, your mistakes, and be free to push them to a neighbor, family, friend's mistake. The mistake does not have to be their own. It doesn't have to be their life experience. They can share from other people's.
Let me take this call from Lillian. Lillian, are you there?
Yeah, good morning.
Morning, you are live. Go ahead, please.
Okay, based on the topic we are discussing, I will allow my daughter to date a guy when I notice she's mature. When she's very, very mature. Because sometimes age is just a number. Somebody can be 22 and is acting like 18. Somebody can be 30 and is still behaving like 20. So I will watch her and make sure she is mature, mentally matured to handle a relationship.
I get you.
Then what I will do, I will come in and guide her as a mother to keep a healthy relationship. Then based on the previous topic we were discussing about the way parents normally guide their children, I like that pattern of protecting a child. Like, don't give them free hand to just be too free, no matter the age, even if they are above 18. I won't give them that free hand. I like the way my parents guided me. To the extent when I got married, I'll go out with my husband, and I'll be thinking that my dad will soon call me. At the time, I was like, I forgot myself. I was like, my dad has not called me. It was 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, my dad will call me. So when I married and went out with my husband, I was like, I need to go home, I need to go home. My husband was looking at me and he was laughing. You need to go home. You are married, for God's sake.
Thank you very much, Lillian.
Because I was really guided.
Thank you very much, Lillian.
Let me say, sorry, Miriam. Let me say this. Sometimes we assume that we are the ones that give the permission for the dating.
Exactly.
That we are the ones allowing the dating. What if they don't tell you? A lot of us, they tell the secrets
now.
Nobody told anybody anything. And you just assume that this girl has no relationship. She's just the good girl. She's always at home, tying wrapper, cooking in the kitchen. She's the minister in the church and everything is going well. Meanwhile, under the sea, things are moving.
So let's also refer to what Nima said.
No, hold on. Let's not assume that we are the ones that will allow. Let's just hope and trust that they will take the right decisions by bringing us into the know. Because if they choose to hide it, we may not know.
Also, I just want to refer to something that Nima said about being a storytelling parent. And that was something that I learned a lot from. And I remember one particular incident. Someone wanted me to do some form of modeling, and that was before university, and was saying I should meet someone. And I was so uncomfortable. I was asking all the questions. I was like, have you ever been abused before? Have you ever been assaulted before with all these questions? It wasn't because it happened to me. It was because I've heard so many stories. I knew the questions to ask. I knew that it was okay to feel uncomfortable the way I was feeling. And then concerning Pastor Bimbo that you were saying, I remember this conversation I had with my mom. She repeats it over and over again. We were watching Pastor Bimbo, and I was like, why is this a big deal? She was like, it's a big deal. People are learning. I said, but this is common sense. These are all the things you just tell us at home now, just regular conversations. So every time she'd be like, you know what Miriam said? These are just regular conversations we have at home. But it was true. It was the conversations we had at home. So it did not mean, it wasn't a big deal for me to go to church and have this pastor talk to us about it. So I agree with Nima that you must make it a part of your everyday conversation because you do not know when that child will be ready. When we say the child should be mature, how do you know? Do you know when she's already thinking it? I have a 7-year-old who talks about boyfriends. She watches Disney. She talks about, I can't wait to have a boyfriend. I can't wait to have a boyfriend so that you can do what with this boyfriend? So we can dance. I'm like, okay. But so that means I have some conversations to have concerning this.
I want us to really to focus a bit on that storytelling because I admire a lot of things about my husband. and a lot of the way he thinks, his maturity, and it comes from storytelling. His father was a storyteller, so it's not just in this area of dating, but it's in everything. You tell, you share, open your mouth and speak and share stories, because that one of this, that I didn't have so much from my mom. My mom was a very quiet person. She didn't used to talk much. But maybe if we had more of those kind of conversations, I mean, there was a friend I had in the university. I won't mention her name. Both of us were like best friends. And when she found that out, I was 21 and I was still a virgin. She's like, how can you be a virgin?
Yes.
You know, that whole place, there'll be cobwebs there. No, we have to, you know. She really told me, and I was getting all skippy. Damn, you won't be able to get pregnant again. She really made me feel. So I didn't have pre-knowledge of that. So I was really depressed. Like, oh my goodness,
this is good.
Have I kept myself for this long just to know like I won't be able to have children? But luckily, I had a guy, my brother's wife. I came and I told her, so I heard this. I said, don't mind them. She now helped to re-educate me. That no, take your time. But the truth is that we don't have a lot of people, role models for our young people. Aside from you, sometimes your children might not be able to come to tell you. It's okay, because that's your parents. But surround them.
Aunties that they can...
Surround them with responsible aunties and uncles who they can refer to at the time. Because this is so crucial for them in their growing up.
So there's also a point where, a part where we have kids who grow up in homes where they have the storytelling. They go to the church. That's what is preached. They see everything. They see the models around them, and yet they make their own decisions.
No. Life happens.
No, it's not life happening. They choose.
You know, there are many factors.
Hold on. There are different factors that could make something happen. But this particular one just chooses, I want to go this way. I don't want to be like you people. And there's nothing you can do about it. So at the end of the day, is the grace of God with everything that you do. And there's also another thing as a parent. So if you're a parent who says it and you don't live it, you are going to confuse that child, and they will go for the action and not what you say. So some people had parents who would say,
so that I don't forget it.
Don't drink, don't do this, don't do that, and they do it. And this child observes. Tomorrow, you start complaining, I trained you, I did this, I did that.
That one,
do you
understand?
Yes. So there are two things, and this one was earlier because we talked about personalities and raising children. There are some children that are going to make their mistakes.
By themselves.
That is how they are. They only learn from their mistakes. And then there are children that learn from other people's mistakes. And I always pray. And I have one of my children seems to be the sort of that child that wants to learn from their mistakes. And that's my prayer, that you don't have to make these mistakes. You can learn from someone else. So you may have that. Then you have some that have learned. But also, you know, we're talking about many factors. We've talked about children who seem to have grown up in good homes, and then they lead a certain lifestyle. Then you find out that there was abuse, sexual abuse that they did not report.
Somewhere.
You know, that there was this uncle or this pastor that the parents confided in, and they would send that child to that place, and that child was being abused. So we put all that into consideration, but all things being equal,
the grace of God.
We just hope that communication and good parenting. From the UK. Good morning, are you there? Mr. Aribatishe, you're live.
Yes, you see, Morayo, I greet all of you there.
Yes, sir.
To take this very topic for the parents to permit, I find it extremely too bitter for me to swallow. You see, you can see that all of you there look beautiful. Your parents have been so perseverant and strict. That's why we are enjoying you here today. Let me give you a story of my daughter in Navy school. When my daughter was in Navy school, nursery, teachers and all people say, oh, Daddy, I want to marry your daughter. And they really mean it. It's not because I became strict. I went away all these morals. You feel so parent is like head when head actually head, or during the time of incubation. There is no special permission. The time of maturity will show itself that there needs a partner. It's not the parent to say, oh, I permit you, go and start dating. And that may not make any tangible things in life. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Aribatishe. Go ahead.
Like I said, life happens. I love that my parents were not judging, and they also didn't judge my friends. I came home with all of my friends. They could sleep over and all of those things. and they made some mistakes that we cried together over. You will find a girl who, maybe for want of one bad parenting or error at home, think that it's okay, let me just find this person who loves me and help me, and then make the mistake of sex. You know, and it was a mistake because it was something she regretted. I remember my father saying to one, just repent and be fine. And God is always forgiving, and you'll be fine. And you know, and she became a better, in fact, she's a much better person than me today, even much more religious. So it's not exactly for want of good parenting or guidance that some things happen.
Yeah.
Another friend, what we found when we were in JS3, she had a guy who had gone into an arrangement with his friends on how many babe I go knock. Now this poor girl got her pregnant, had a video, then, you know, about it, back in 96, and you know, it would threaten her and all of those things. My parents made that story a story, not from a point of judging, but a point of being careful. And the poor girl, she's regained her steps. So a lot of times they do those mistakes, but it's not for want. I love her parents, that from the East, the way they handled it. Because she was at a suicidal point, they quickly came to her aid, assisted her.
Thank you, Nima, for taking us there. Because, yeah, so we've said all the parts of raising the children, but mistakes happen.
When it happens.
You like a girl, you like a guy, and you just didn't plan to have sex. Something happened, one thing led to another. You did it, and then she's pregnant. It was a mistake, it was a one-night stand, and you didn't plan it. But as parents, no parent wants to hear this. But when it happens, you have to be mature about it. Because how you handle it could determine what happens to that girl afterwards, or that boy afterwards. Because at the end of the day, they always get second chances. That's the truth. Life will always give you second chances. So if you parents don't give that child a second chance, they will find their second chance, and they will move on, and they'll survive. And they'll become, they can be single mothers. They become resentful. So the truth is that, how do parents handle when these mistakes happen?
Yeah, Mariah, what I say is I ensure that I tell my children that no matter what happens, I would always love you. I would always have your back. You don't have to earn my love. I am your parent. My love is unconditional. But we need to start paying attention to what you do, because there are consequences of every action. So before you do it, ask yourself, if this happens, if there's a backlash, can I bear this consequence? As long as you know that you can bear the consequence, no wahala. For me, I would always give my support, because I'm not going to live your life for you. I'm not going to walk in your shoes for you. I don't know God's plan for you. I just want to believe that since you came through me, I will nurture you as best as I can. But don't ever think that there's anything you will do in this life that will make me take away my face from you. Never.
Let's take some comments on Facebook and
then talking. Okay, you want to take a comment?
Okay, so we have some. In Parental, it says, as long as the girl is mentally and emotionally ready to be in a relationship, because these days, the rate at which girls take relationships seriously and then get served their breakfast, heartbreaking, bracket, is alarming. Not most girls who are very pure in the eyes of their parents, but deep down, they have lots of boyfriends at their DMs. Make I no shake table too much. Fumi says, at 20 years, once they see that he or she is matured enough to take care of him or herself.
I've shared the story when you go to Silverbird. Back then, when we used to go to cinema, once you enter the toilet of Silverbird Gallery, you see all these girls, 14, 13, changing their clothes. They come in jeans and T-shirt, and they change it to all the skimpy, the spaghettis, and you see them changing their clothes, using their makeup. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this
and the parents would think
they went to the movies with your girlfriends.
Mariah, that's a question we should ask is that for lack of good parenting, or is this just peer pressure? Because you feel some of these kids, you're like, the parents talk to them and everything. You can wear what you want to wear in the house. Of course, with your parents' guidance, like maybe that skirt is a little too short. I don't think you should wear it. But all the girls outside are wearing the latest shorts that Beyonce is wearing. Yeah. So, so that's the part that scares me. There's a video that my husband sent me recently of young girls, they're teenagers, and they're having a drinking party. Yeah, they had and they were passing it around. And obviously these girls look like they come from good homes. Yes. And all of them doing the same thing. Ew. And I remember times when we were younger, we would hear of a classmate that had drank so much, they had a competition where they would drink hot drinks, or whiskey or something, and then they die.
Pass out.
So now when that happens, when the mistake happens, the question is, what do you do? I have seen parents who have given their children a chance, and they have maybe carried the child, maybe like a pregnancy, and said to their daughter, go ahead, go with school. But I've seen some people who have been so upset. The daughter never goes to school. The baby is being passed from one family to the other. You have to forgive your child. Yeah. and then you start again. And now she's coming from a point of experience, from a point of mistake.
We hope
she
that
understands that the consequences more now is in real, she understands that the consequence, she sees the realness of the consequences, and then they need support more than ever. So, because I had a message from someone once where it was so hard for her to move on because she had a child. And I know that many parents then used to make that mistake where once your child makes a mistake, then you let her go. Please.
But how many people's school fees are we going to now be paying? We have not finished training you now. Now add another one.
She will go get work at some point. So let me quickly just build on Miriam saying, hoping that they would learn because they've had experience. We had I had a cousin who, I don't know, for want of love. So don't make your children hungry for love. That they will go back over and over and interpret love to mean sex.
Say it again.
Don't make your children hungry for love, so much so that they would interpret it to mean sex. So you have a guy tell you every day, show me you love me, show me you love me. If you tell me the matter too much, I will insult you, I walk away. Because growing up, I try to do it to my children. You will see my children every time they tell themselves, I'm beautiful. I try to do that validation for them. I do it because I had it. I loved it. I grew up not sure of myself, short hair. I didn't have as long hair as my sisters. I didn't have the body shape on time. I didn't board on time. 16, we never board.
All of us,
you know. So just drive for everywhere. My father used to every day, you're so beautiful, Nima. Your name is Blessing. Your name is Favor. You know, and all those things just come. And if it tells me, I look into the mirror, I can help myself, I'll be boasting. You know?
To show them so much. So I think I've learned this.
Love for me was
show them so much love. Let them value their body. Let them value themselves. They can put a high price. They are the ones eventually, they are the ones to make a decision.
At the end of the day. And you know when the price is to be paid. So in our house, the price was to be paid at your dowry, at marriage. So we had this price that is not for everybody, and the price was to be paid until certain rights.
And even if you don't get
boys, even if boy children, I would like for us to have fathers calling and tell us how they are telling their boys.
Part two of this, how are they raising our boys?
Because we have seen some fathers carry shoulder when their boys are doing some things. That's my boy.
Exactly. We need to talk about that. So we're going to have the part two of this. Is how are these men raising these boys? Can they raise boys to be more responsible, more respectful, and hold their thing and control their thing till after marriage?
The boys are the ones that come and meet our girls.
Yes.
So we have to raise them right.
So we'll discuss it next week on this matter. That's all we can take, ladies. You didn't take any more messages over here?
Yeah, so Tumishe says, start teaching your children how to multitask. I think the first topic. It's called being responsible and not dependent or entitled. Some of our cultures that are not helping us should be made away with. Abiyuwa Onyeka said, God bless my dad. At the point, my dad would call me and admire my dressing and tell me I'm beautiful. When I was going to Uniben, guys admired me, and I said, I know, my dad had already told me.
So first of all, Akiboyewa says, it's always good for our children to feel secure knowing that their parents could help them financially should they find themselves in financial difficulties. Ojeve Josephine says, learn from other mistakes, like my father would say.
Okay, I think we've gotten quite a bit of this. Thank you, ladies. That was a good conversation. That's all we can take on the show. We'll see you Monday. Bye for now.